Eclipses themselves are not that unique. They happen at least 4 times a year, and sometimes even more, sometimes even 5 or 6 times a year, but every one of them is unique. And this one is a really big deal. All all solar eclipses are new moons, but not all of them are that strong. This is extremely strong because it's total, which means that the body of the moon will completely blot out from the vantage point on Earth the energy of the sun. On top of that, it's also a super moon, which means it's a stronger than normal new moon. The moon is closer to Earth than usual. On top of that, the moon is this whole solar eclipse is exact to the degree with Chiron, which is this, I'll call it an asteroid, that is about healing. It's called the Wounded Healer. And I talked about Chiron a lot in the last call. So if you want to hear that part, just you definitely have access to it by being here. But the gist of it is that to get a total solar eclipse directly on top of Chiron, that's also a supermoon. And there's even a comet flying through at the same time, which is unusual. And at the same time, this asteroid Eris, who's about the divine, the kick-ass aspect of the divine feminine, the part of the feminine rising up that is not, oh, aren't we pretty? This is like, stop the bullshit, kick back, fight back. Eris is on top of this whole configuration at the same time. So there is this, she's like the female, the female aspect of the divine warrior. She's very prominent. So you have all of these things going on at once, and what it's doing is, well, it's interesting. If you look online, you tend to get, there are some people writing about this very well, but what you also get are a whole legion of people treating this eclipse as if it's the beginning of the end of the world. The gates of hell are about to happen. Legion, demons are about to arrive on chariots and take things over. And you get this tremendous fear mongering all happening on one end. And then on the other end, you get a certain amount of the manifestors saying, this is the chance of a lifetime. You can use this energy to make every wish happen. Get out your lists of everything you want and meditate, and every wish will be fulfilled. And personally, I don't think either of those approaches are, to me, what's real. What's real from my own approach of offering is that there's this portal of energy. And if you come to it with reverence and openness, and even a sense of intimacy, which may sound funny to do with something that so many people are so scared of, but to actually open to it with curiosity and a desire to know it, then you will know that eclipse from within. I'm living in the path of very close to totality. So my theory is, this is my karma to be in that path of totality. And given that I want to align with this eclipse, see, that's my general approach to astrology, is align with what's happening, as opposed to fearing it, resisting it, or trying to use it to get a shopping list. Instead, open to it, invite it in, and ask it to bring the changes that are ready to be brought for you. And, I think a lot of this is just, it is the way our culture is. So I'm not criticizing anybody even. I'm just, of course, like we're taught to see these things on the outside as like mechanistic objects to either be feared or used. But there is a whole other way. And total solar eclipse, the piece of this I forgot to say, is also next to the north node of destiny. There are either south node eclipses, which are connected to the past, or there's north node ones, which are connected to the future, your highest calling, your highest destiny, your dharma, whatever you want to call it. This one is a north node eclipse. So in a way, by saying, I'm releasing whatever misconceptions I have, false attachments I have, false identities I have that are keeping me from allowing the full potency of this eclipse on the north node of destiny from unfolding. I am open to release that and also receive the new and receive the action. So this isn't passive, especially because it's in Aries. Aries is, I'm sure there's a bunch of you that have Aries in your chart. Aries is not exactly a passive sign. So this can be very fiery, and yet you put yourself in a posture of receptivity and then take the fiery action, as it's almost like divinely motivated by it. You happen to have, I would say especially, I mean, this is true for everybody, but if you happen to have a lot of Aries in your chart or a lot of Libra in your chart, this is probably the rebirth of a lifetime. Because even though every 18 years we get all of these eclipses in Aries and Libra, we don't get them with this kind of potency. Right now, there's like 5 planets or asteroids altogether in Aries. So it's sitting in there saying the opportunity to be reborn is beyond the beyond. And that's actually true for anybody. You don't have to have just the planets there, but it's almost like if you have a lot of Libra or a lot of Aries, you have no choice. And I would say that's how divine timing goes. These things happen because I believe we sign up for this ahead of time. Oh, I'm going to be such and such an age when that particular configuration comes, and you can have the reset of a lifetime. It can literally be like before the eclipse is one chapter and a whole other book is after the eclipse. Now, don't assume it has to happen today or even that anything significant happens today, because some people, it may already have been happening over the last month leading up. I certainly feel that, like it's been growing, growing, growing. But also, this is going to unfurl. It again depends on your chart, but you may feel this for the next 6 months. And so if nothing of great significance happens today, except that if all you got out of this call with me is that you moved into that state of intimacy with the eclipse instead of resisting it or fearing it or trying to use it, but instead opening to it, that would be enough, because that would set the energy in a very fertile way so that you could receive the new.